Hello everyone and welcome back to Beatles Beatles channel. Lovely to have you here. Thanks for joining me for this video and I hope you're all doing well. Well, in today's video I am going to be still banging on about the anthology, but I'm not really going to cover anything that we talked about last week, because last week was about getting the news out and making sure that all the information was correct about the release, and I didn't really sort of give my opinion, so I want to do that as in this video. And also the comment, I wanted to talk about the comments on the video, because it was really interesting to see how attitudes changed from the first announcement of the teaser to when we actually knew what was going to be on it and how they were delivering it and pricing it. And I also want to talk about how I think that Apple have really lost their way and really not treating Beatles fans with any respect at all. Some of these people have been supporting this band through thick and thin, for 50 or 60 years, and I want to talk about that as well. And I also want to talk about something that has come to light over the last few days that hasn't been discussed at all, and that is that the anthology albums have got more remixes on them than they are telling us about. We understood that most of it was just remastered, but clearly there has been some remixes, and I'll go through those track by track of which ones have and which ones haven't. So that's what we're going to do in today's video. Before we get going on that, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who has subscribed over the last week. There's been a lot of you. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel, and I hope you enjoy the content here. Obviously, big thank you to everybody who contributed to the anthology videos last week. There was something like about 700 comments, and I've tried to answer them all, and I hear what you're saying, and I want to cover that in the video. But 700 comments, and I did try and answer as many as I could without repeating myself. So thank you so much for being part of this channel. If you subscribe or you just were viewing it and commenting, the channel is nothing without you. So if you are watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider supporting the channel by subscribing. Drop a like on the video, because that really helps the video get out to more people, and you'll be doing me a big favour. And it's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine a few weeks ago. He's not a YouTuber or anything like that, and he thinks that the word subscribed is bad. Is bad. It should be something maybe like follow or something like that, because as soon as you hear the word or see the word subscribe, you think it's going to cost you money. But obviously with YouTubers, all of you that have subscribed know that isn't the case. It isn't the case. This channel is completely free. Not only is it completely free, but it's completely ad-free during the video, so I don't have any adverts mid-roll on in the video, so you get to watch the whole thing without being interrupted by adverts for silly things like holidays and pet insurance and all that sort of caper. Okay, let's get on with the business. Okay, let's start with Apple, and I want to talk about how attitudes changed over those 3 days. So when I dropped the teaser video, which was on the Tuesday last week with the 1 2 3 4 thing, there was quite a lot of excitement. Understandably, we all love anthology. If you were there in the 90s, you will remember the excitement of that. It was something special, with all those outtakes. We'd never really had Beatles outtakes before, and there have been a few isolated examples, but never a wholesale that we got over those 3 double CDs. Also, we had the excitement of hearing brand new Beatles song, or 2 brand new Beatles song, but obviously the arrival of Free as a Bird had the biggest impact, and it was very you know, it was very emotional hearing John singing again with the other three. And, you know, for me, becoming a fan in 1976, this was the first new Beatles song that I'd heard with all four of them on it, and so that was very exciting. So people were anticipating this quite warmly. I remember about 4 months ago I did a video that said I think that the Anthology is going to be the next Beatles Super Deluxe edition, and that is what proved to happen. And, you know, on that video, people were saying the same things. You know, we want Rubber Soul, and I totally understand that, and me too. But people generally were quite excited about the prospect of what could be done with Anthology, like expanding, you know, the TV series, remixing the album and stuff like that. So people were quite excited. On the Tuesday, the comments were mostly positive. Then on Thursday morning, I posted a video because I managed to get a leaked list of what was going to be on Anthology 4. And at this point, the tide changed a little bit. I would say by the time that video came, and it came out roughly 2 to 3 hours before the official announcement. So people that watched that video on this channel, and there was a lot, I think it's had about 16,000 views, something like that. You know, people were still quite positive about what was being on Anthology 4. They were a little bit disappointed about the number of tracks that had already appeared on the Beatles box sets, i.e., you know, from Revolver to Let It Be, on the sessions of those. The people that had those box sets were disappointed that they were padding out the album with those. And but there is a huge number of people that haven't bought those box sets. There are a huge number of people that just, you know, didn't want to go there to that big expense of buying those huge box sets, and you had to buy the box sets to get the sessions. So the people that didn't buy those box sets, quite happy to have all these remixed outtakes that were on the sessions LPs of all those box sets. I think there's 17 of them, and they were quite happy about that. So by the time we got to that stage, I would say it was about 50-50 as far as positivity and negativity goes. Now, when the time the announcement came and I did that, the comments just exploded. People were really angry about it, and with good reason. And I would say on that video, going by the comments, I would say that the positivity towards this release was something about 30-70 being against it. People were really cross, and I totally understand that. The main reasons why people were cross about it was that it had been announced that the Anthology 1, 2 and 3 had been remastered rather than remixed, and people were saying it was a lost opportunity. That was one of the reasons. And the second reason, which I think that everyone to a man is angry about, is the fact that none of the anthologies, either on CD or on LP, were available to buy separately. If it had been separate, from what I gather from the comments, a lot of people would have bought Anthology 4 either on CD or on LP if it had been available separately. Now, there were only 13 unreleased tracks on it, as I said, 17 from the SDEs, and the remix of Free as a Bird and Real Love, and obviously Now and Then as well was on it. And people were quite rightly really angry about that. So on the Tuesday, when they dropped the teaser, the attitude towards Anthology was mostly positive, but in 2 days they managed to turn that round, because by Thursday afternoon, by the time we knew what was on it, how they were going to distribute it and how much it cost, people were really angry about it. And Apple had managed in 2 days to grasp defeat from the jaws of victory. That's a saying that we use here in the UK usually for football. If a team is 2-0 up and they end up losing 3-2, then they grabbed defeat from the jaws of victory, and that is what Apple did on Thursday afternoon. Now, I never ever use the word cash grab on this channel. I can't bear it. It is the most ridiculous thing that only ever seems to apply to to music. Or I don't go deep on other bands, YouTubers. To be absolutely honest, I don't. But on this channel and on other Beatles YouTube channel, you always get what, it doesn't matter what it is, if it's brilliant or if it's rubbish, you will always get someone that will shout out cash grab. And that doesn't happen in real life, because what it is it's just something being offered for sale, and that happens in every walk of life. That is how retail works. A company puts out a product, it's got a price, and you either want it or you don't want it. And if you want it, you buy it, and if you don't want it, you don't buy it. If you go into a Mercedes garage, for example, and they've got a new C-Class and they've done an upgrade. Now that upgrade might be, they've just put a new radiator grille on it. A new radiator grille was the car equivalent of when an album gets a remaster or something like that, or gets a few extra tracks. But nobody goes into a Mercedes showroom and shouts out cash grab. They just don't do it. They don't do it. However, with this release, I am shouting cash grab like the wanker I am. I'm shouting cash grab because this is just totally out of order. Apple have lost their way, and they are rotten to the core at the moment. How can they treat Beatles fans in this way when a lot of Beatles fans have been supporting this band through thick and thin since the 60s, and new people like me joining in the 70s, more in the 80s, more in the 90s when Anthology came out, and probably Gen Zs, they're in now and then, and they like that, and they're on board as well. The talk in the comments was, well, this isn't really for us, meaning old school hardcore. It's not for us, it's for the kids. It's for the kids. But we had Kyla on the channel the other day, and she said she has to stream everything because she can't afford to buy box sets. They're too expensive, and there must be millions of young people that are in that same boat. Look, if you think back, I don't know what 300 quid was in old money, back in the 70s, 80s or 90s or whatever. But could you afford to spend £300 on some records when you was 19, 20, 21, 22? I know I couldn't. So it's absolutely shocking that Apple have done this. They should have made each volume of that anthology available individually and in a box set. So people that wanted to buy it in a box set, they could have it, and if they wanted to just buy Anthology 4, they could buy it. Or people that bought it back in the 90s who are not bothered about the remastering didn't have to buy something again that they already own. Someone said, oh, my favourite is Anthology 2. I would have loved to have bought a remastered version of Anthology 2. You can't. Now, I'm not full of my own self-importance enough to think that Apple would give this video the slightest glance. But if there is the slightest chance that anyone from Apple is watching this, you have lost the fan base. You have lost your main fan base. People are so cross you don't even understand how annoyed they are about this. And you can rectify this. You can rectify this because there's a long time till November, and you can put each of these albums out separately if you want to. You can. I'm not talking about in a year's time. Putting it out, because then you're going to piss off the people that have bought the box. Just to get Anthology 4 and to get it remastered. That's who you're gonna annoy. Just like you pissed off the people that bought the BC13 in 1978 to get the Rarities album, and then you put it out next year. That won't do. If you're gonna put it out separately, you need to put it out now, before the box comes out, so people that are in that boat that have just bought the box set because they want Anthology 4, they can cancel that order and they can buy it separately. Now, I know what anyone is going to say. That doesn't make economical sense for Apple because they want to get £300 or $370 or whatever it is for the LP set. It's about £100 for the CD box set, £300 for the LP box set. And I know you're going to say, well, they're never going to do that because they want to take your money. They want to fleece you. They want to fleece you, and that's why it's a cash grab. So they need to do this now. They need to make this announcement now. For the number of people that have said I would have bought Anthology 4 if it had been separate, and now I'm buying nothing. Now I'm buying nothing. I'm boycotting it. I'm not going to buy anything. It's for those people because, you know, is it not better to sell one triple album? And let's be honest, the one triple album's not going to be cheap. It's going to be about £60, right? It's going to be about £60 if we're lucky. It could be 70. It could be 70. This is what they need to do, because at the moment Apple stinks. It really is rotten to the core, pardon the pun, but it is. And you know, we know that we've got Tom Green, the new CEO of Apple, coming in during September. I'm not quite sure what his start date is, but he's coming in during September. And I hope that he goes through that Apple office with like a whirlwind, and he fires whoever's idea it was to just sell this as a box set and not make it available as individual albums. They didn't do that last year. Last year, when they did the US albums, they were all available to buy individually. So why aren't they now? It just doesn't make sense. Well, it makes sense to Apple, but it doesn't make sense to us fans. Make them separate, make them available now before the box set comes out so people can adjust their order, and you will sell more individual albums than you're going to sell box sets, going by the number of comments that I read on my channel and on other people's channels saying I'm not having anything to do with it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. They have gone too far this time. And, you know, generally, I just think Apple have lost their way. You know, the big shout was, I want Rubber Soul. Everyone wants Rubber Soul. And they were doing so well. You know, you can go back to the olden days, the bad olden days. We think of them as great times. But as far as Beatles releases, they were bad days. Because when we got Let It Be, and then all we got after that, save for Beatles Live at the Hollywood Bowl in 1977, that's 7 years later. Then we got the BC13, you know, had rarities in it, but we did get a standalone rarities, but they weren't that rare. They were mostly B-sides. This is the British version I'm talking about. Then in 1980, the US version of Rarities, which was much more adventurous and did have things that people didn't own. But, you know, generally, we did get the Star Club Hamburg in 1977, and we did get the Complete Silver Beatles in 1982, I think it was, but they weren't from Apple. They weren't Apple-sanctioned projects. They were other labels who got those out. So all we got was compilations until 1994, when they put the BBC recordings out, and then the next year we got Anthology. And, you know, from that time, they have been very good with their releases. We were looking at a spreadsheet of all the things that we think that they've released since Anthology, because we're going to be doing a Hands Across the Water episode on this, and it's a lot. They have released a lot. It's over 30 different products. This I'm just talking about either video or audio releases. I'm not talking about memorabilia and all that sort of stuff. But over 30 things over the years, and they were doing so well. You know, when When they dropped the Sgt. Pepper box in 2017, everyone was blown away. The White Album box was even better. We got Abbey Road, which wasn't as good. We got Let It Be, and we got Revolver. They were all great. They were all great, and everybody wanted them. Well, I'm never going to talk for everyone, but lots of people wanted them, and everyone wanted that series to continue. In 2023. We thought we were going to get it because there was no reason to think we were going to get it, but we assumed that once they went to Revolver, they were working backwards, and Rubber Soul was the next best album, or the next most popular album, and it didn't come. They also skipped over Magical Mystery Tour and the Yellow Submarine, by the way, when they were going on that run, but we realised that contents for that would be limited. Do them together. Everyone wanted Rubber Soul, and it hasn't come. In 2023, we got the Red and Blue. Some people were pleased, some people were unhappy. It was there just as a vehicle for Now and Then, but they did do a lot of remixes on the Red album, and that kind of makes it worth it for me, because the stereo remixes are the most important thing for me when a box set comes out. So it wasn't a great release, because again, it's still contained a lot of remixes that had been on the box sets, because they'd done the latter periods. On the Blue album, there wasn't really many remixes on that, so they put out the Red and Blue. Of course, they put out the Red and Blue, because if they put it out when they'd done all the box sets, then no one would be interested, because everyone would already have remixes of all the tracks. So of course they put it out in the middle. I understand that. I understand the marketing. People weren't happy with it, but we still bought it. Last year, 2024, again, they put out the US albums. Now, no one had really asked for that. I quite liked it, because I didn't own any of those US albums, and they were great. I did quite like them, but most people couldn't care less about those. I knew earlier in the year that there was going to be no Rubber Soul this year. Apple, they must have a roadmap. They must have a roadmap that maybe goes 5 years at least. 5 years at least. So Anthology has been planned for a long time. People were calling it a lazy release, and in some ways it is, but it's not something that's been rushed out. It has been on their roadmap for quite a long time. So as things stand at the moment, after this announcement, Apple have lost the fan base, or at least a large proportion of it. People who have supported this band for 50, 60 years. They're loyalist customers. We call ourselves fans. They call us customers. They're loyalist customers. But this situation is not irredeemable. You can get those people that have fallen away now back. The people that are saying they have had enough. They've had enough. All you've got to do is listen to us. Listen to the fans. You can form a focus group. You've got so many fans online that would be willing to talk to you about what they want. You've got people, you've got YouTubers that are, promoting your product, but in the comments of those videos, you've got loads of people telling you why they don't like that product or what they want instead. You've got Facebook groups with thousands of members, people telling you what they want. Twitter, people telling you what they want. Now, I know it's not as straightforward as that. I know, because we all want different things. We all want different things. For example, I want the album-centric Super Deluxe box sets finished. I want that product finished. I want good stereo remixes of the albums that I grew up with. That's what I want, but it's not all about me. Other people will tell you they want Shea Stadium. Other people will tell you they want the Star Club Hamburg. Other people, I'm not laughing at the Star Club Hamburg. I'm laughing at the next thing that's just come into my mind, Carnival of Shite. That is what a lot of people are saying. They want it. I couldn't give a shit about it, but a lot of people want it. And this information is at your fingertips. You can work out what people want, but more important to you, what people will buy. So what did you say in the comments? Nice segue that, wasn't it? Well, what you did say in the comments was the things that why you were disappointed with it. Mostly it was about the fact that you couldn't buy any of the anthologies separately. That was the number one bugbear. The other thing was that they did a remaster rather than a remix, and I'll come to that in a minute. But you also, you said you wanted things like Carnival of Shite. Lots of people shouting out for that. I think that is something that people will continue to shout until we get it, but I don't think we'll ever get it. And if we do ever get it, when you get it, you'll wish you never got it. If you want 14 minutes of random noises and tape loops and burping and farting and talking, then if that's what you want, that's what you want. But personally, I've got no interest in it whatsoever. A lot of people don't like Revolution 9. This is a prequel to Revolution 9, and from all reports, it's probably inferior, because Revolution 9 made it onto an album and this didn't. But if you want it, you want it, and that's your prerogative, I suppose. There was also a big shout out for the 26-minute version of Helter Skelter. We do get a 4-minute edit of an early Helter Skelter on Anthology. I think a longer one on the White Album box set. But I think 26 minutes would be quite a challenge. I think it would be quite a challenge. And obviously, if you had Helter Skelter 26-minute version and Carnival of Light, that is one side of an LP. And people's requests were, there was so many of them. I heard a lot of shouts for the demo for Bad to Me. I heard people saying the Stowe School tapes. Someone saying Essen, really, really poor quality recordings. There is a limit. There is a limit to what Mal can do. Also, a big shout for the Star Club Hamburg tapes. Now, the problem with that is that Apple don't own those tapes. Peter Jackson owns those tapes, and he's doing a project to try and clean them up. But it's a reel-to-reel tape recorder in 1962. As I say, there are limits to what Mal can do, and I'll come on to that in a minute. But if he can do something miraculous with it, that then all well and good. I'm sure if he tries to sell it to Apple, they might be interested in buying it. If not, he'll hawk it round to another label, I expect. But at the moment, it's not going to be on Anthology 4, because the Star Club Hamburgs is a double album. That's 4 sides. They've only got 6 sides to play with, so it was never going to be on this release. If I've got a personal gripe, I think it was very lazy of them to move this to an Anthology 4, a separate album for this extra stuff, because it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Anthology tells a story. It tells the story of the progression of this group. So I saw a standing there. Take 2 needs to be on Anthology 1 in that period. If I Fell needs to be where, also on Anthology 1, where the Hard Day's Night stuff is. It's telling a story, and for people that are coming to Anthology new, it's alright for us because we know about this. But don't forget, they haven't made this for us. They've made this for, the younger generation to get into the Beatles. So for the younger generation coming to this, Anthology 4 makes no sense whatsoever. They should have split all the songs up and put them in chronologically with where they come in the album. That was my personal bugbear. That was just laziness. But obviously the biggest shout was for the Rubber Soul box set. That is what people wanted the most. And like I said, we all want different things, so there is always going to be disappointment. It doesn't matter what they do, there will always be disappointment, because it's not what you in particular want. And it's your right to air that discontent, and the comments of these videos and the videos of other YouTubers is the forum for you to do it. And it's really interesting to read it. But you really did give it to me in the comments. There were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments about this. Now, as I say, not everyone's disgruntled about it. A lot of people are happy. They're happy with the 13 tracks that we're getting that we haven't heard. And one of the conclusions that we can take from that is, did you notice that there was a an outtake from every single album, Please Please Me, With the Beatles, Hard Day's Night, Beatles for Sale, Help, Rubber Soul, Magical Mystery Tour and Yellow Submarine. All the box sets they haven't done. Now, what I take from that is that they're giving you a little taster, a little taster. They're not going to give you loads and loads and loads of outtakes because from those albums, because they want to do a box set, and that is good. I'm glad, because you know, after 3 years without a box set since Revolver, you know, I'm starting to think, well, is this project done? Are they not going to do any more? I think that they've given us so little on that means that they are saving what they've got, whatever it is, they are saving it for those box sets. So I do believe that that project is still alive, and that makes me happy. But for God's sake, get on with it. Get on with it. We haven't got forever. So please, get on with it. No more random releases, red and blue, US albums. Just do the box sets and be done with it. And when we could stop moaning, you know, I'll be so glad. Personally, I don't care whether the next one is Rubber Soul. They can do any of them as far as I'm concerned. I don't mind. I don't mind. They can do any of them. But I would just be so happy if it is Rubber Soul, because people will then stop saying, I want Rubber Soul. And then when we get Rubber Soul, people will be saying, well, why isn't this on it? Why isn't that on it? You know how it is. You know how it is. It's all good fun, and you know, this is what we are about. We are the most moany fan base probably in the world, and that is maybe because we are the biggest fan base in the world probably, and you know, we've got lots to say, and we as I say, we all want the different things, and it doesn't matter what it is really. It's always impossible to please all the people all the time. So I suppose next year we can look forward to a super deluxe edition of real music. That'll be good, in a box, remixed, segued together, the movie medley. Be fab. Now I want to talk about something that's come out in the last few days, about the remixing / remastering. Now they told us it was remastered, apart from the two new songs which were remixed. But I think this, I'm not sure if this emanated from the Hoffman forum, but someone sent it to me, and you can go and listen to Anthologies 1, 2 and 3 remastered on Apple Music right now. You can go there right now. Wait till the end of this video, but you can go there right now and listen to them. And I did that, and this article that came out gave me the clues of what to listen to, and I did, and it's true. And they have remixed more than they are letting on. I suppose it might have been a little bit confusing in the press release to say, well, it's remastered, but we've remixed a few things, but most of it is remastered. That would have been a bit of a mouthful and a, you know, not very soundbitey. But that is what they have done. They have used Mal technology to remix quite a few things. Now, if you watch the video back in that I did back 4 months ago about Anthology being the next super deluxe box set, then I said on that video that they could, you know, perhaps they could. I'd always, when people would ask me, do you think they'll remix it? I always said, no, they won't. They won't remix outtakes, but you know, they have done on the box set, the album centric box sets that they've put out. They have remixed them, and they've used those remixes here. But that is not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the other stuff that they've remixed. And in that video, I said maybe they could use the Mal technology to clean up all that stuff from Liverpool, that really badly recorded stuff, some of the live stuff, get the screaming down and stuff like that. And that is kind of what they've done, but there has been some other jiggery pokery, so I want to go through it now. I'm going to tell you what they've done, but I'm going to tell you that some of these, you know, I've listened to it on Apple Music, high res through the hi-fi that is attached to my Mac right here in my studio. So you know, it's, you know, I'm listening to it on good equipment. I'm not listening to it on my, you know, on my computer speakers. I'm not listening on my phone. I'm listening to it through a proper hi-fi. And you can tell that they have made some massive improvements. For a start, all the stuff that I'm not going to talk about, the stuff that's just been remastered, sounds great. It does sound really good. It does sound really good. But they have done some remixing here, and I'll go through them. So that'll be the day. And in spite of all the danger, we're all are all mono remixes done with the machine learning software, with a slight stereo ambience. So there was mono, but they kind of got a stereo feel to them now. The following tracks have been remixed in mono with Mal, and that is Hallelujah, I Love You So, You'll Be Mine, KN, I'll Get You from the London Palladium. So these are live recordings. Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby from Shea Stadium, Rock and Roll Music from the Budokan, and She's a Woman from the Budokan. The following live tracks have been remixed in stereo. So those ones were in mono, these are in stereo. These have been remixed in stereo using Mal. Twist and Shout, Raw Variety Performance, All My Lovin', Ed Sullivan, Help, Blackpool Night Out. Following tracks have been they've had like the stereo image reimagined or narrowed, if you like. So the first track is Tomorrow Never Knows, Take One. Now this is the version that appeared on the Revolver Sessions LPs. Now what they've done is that they've taken that version where they've done that stereo narrowing, so you haven't got the vocals on one side and the music on the other, but they've cut it down to anthology length. So it's the same length as it was on the original Anthology, which is 3 minutes 14, but on the Revolver box set it was 3 minutes 32. So they've cut out the little bit of studio chat and stuff like that, but they have put that on, so that sounds a lot better. It sounds really good. Now, Across the Universe, Take Two, I don't think we've had that. I don't think we've had that on any of the box sets, but they have done something to that as well. Again, they've narrowed the stereo. If you listen to the original one, the vocal is more prominent on one speaker. Now it's more in the middle. The following tracks were originally mono, but now have varying amounts of stereo ambience applied to them. Love Me Do, the EMI recording test, the June recording, 1 After 909 full starts, 1 After 9 takes 4 and 5, Can't Buy Me Love takes 2 and 1, You Can't Do That takes 6, And I Love Her take 2, A Hard Day's Night take 1, You Know What to Do, Mr. Moonlight take 1, Strawberry Fields Forever demo, The Fall on the Hill demo, Happiness is a Warm Gum demo. There's also some stuff about some of the fades being longer or shorter. I'm not going to go into them because they're fractions of a second. I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to go there, but there's quite a lot of the tracks. Now the following tracks are sourced from previous CDs. Helter Skelter take 2, that was on the White Album box set. Me Mr. Mustard demo, White Album box set. Polythene Pam, White Album box set 2018 mix. Glass Onion 2018 mix. Piggies 2018 mixed, again with the stereo image narrowed so it's more central. Honey Pie demo, that has been edited down to anthology length from the version that was on the White Album box set. Oh Darling Jam 2021 mix, that's from Let It Be, including the edited section 5 seconds to 9 seconds and the misplaced guitar note at 3 minutes 50. That is on the Let It Be box set, Super Deluxe box set. This one's interesting. Get Back, the Rooftop Concert take 3, so the third version they did. They haven't used the original mix that was on Anthology. What they've used is the 2022 mix that they used in the IMAX cinemas when the entire Rooftop Concert went out in the cinemas, in the IMAX cinemas. They've used that mix. There's a couple of changes that don't fit any category. They're a bit meh, really. On the track Shout, right, there's a random clap. There's a random clap at 31 seconds, which was edited out of the original Anthology. It's back in now. Mr. Moonlight Take 4 is now in stereo. It was previously in mono. And there is an 8-second section of You Know My Name, Look Up the Number that is now in mono when it was previously in stereo. There you go. So they've done quite a bit of remixing. Now I'm going to say this. There is a limit to what Mal can do. Don't expect sound quality like Now and Then. Don't expect that. Don't even expect like on the any of the box sets that have used it. I think most only really Revolver and the Red and Blue. But Don't expect that, because they, you know, these recordings from Liverpool, they're really old. But you can just hear, just listen to In Spite of All the Danger. It's really, really hissy on the original anthology, but now it's not, and it's much clearer. Things are much clearer, so things have been improved. They are not perfect, and maybe the fact that they can't get the live stuff perfect, maybe that's one of the reasons why we haven't had a shhhh Stadium release, because we know they remixed it in 2016, because it went out as the kind of the B movie for 8 days a week. So I don't know, but that is, I think that is quite a revelation. So they have done more to this than meets the eye, I think. Go and listen to it. Go and listen to it for yourself. It's on Apple Music. Go and listen to it, and you can compare one against t'other and see what you think. Okay, that is it. This video has gone on way too long. I'm sorry about that, but there was a lot to say. So please let me know your thoughts down in the comments. You know I do read all your comments, and I will respond to all your comments, but I might not get to them straight away because I'm going away tomorrow for a few days until the weekend, well, until after the weekend. So please tell me your comments, but please don't go over stuff that we've already gone over. I want this and I want that. Don't, you know, you've already done that in the comments, so we're okay with that. As you know, this is quite a negative video in places, in quite a lot of places. You know, normally I try and be really positive, but this release is underwhelming to say the least. But I think it's got certainly more value now, knowing that they have done some remixing on this. Anyway, that is all from me. Thanks very much for Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please remember to give it a like. Please drop a subscribe on to the channel as well if you like what you see. It only takes a second of your life. That's it from me. I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.